is to try to kick somebody's ass. I mean, that's why we're here.
That is caught! Left center! Reds win! And this ball is launched. High and very deep to right, long gone. It's second of the night. Ellie De La Cruz.
Short lead for Pena. Larkin drills it. Do you believe this? That's going to be gone! Back to back! Walk-off home runs! How about this? He's back! He's back! He's back!
And a swing and a drive. Deep left field. This one belongs to the Reds.
Swung on and hit deep to left field.
That ball is going to be gone. Home run. And the Reds put it 5-4.
Goes to second one. Around the first. Got a double play. And the Reds sweep the Cubs. Breaking ball. Hit high. Hit deep. Way back there. And gone into the second deck and left. Christian Encarnacion Strand walks it off. Archer does it in his major league debut. He gets the final 3 outs, and the Reds get an extra inning win. A thriller 5-4.
Swung on. Fly ball. Hit the deep right field. That ball is going to be gone. A grand slam home run by Mike Cameron.
2 outs, 2 on. Reds down by 1. Larkin down the line. It's a winning. It's a winning. Here comes Tucker. Here comes Steins. Larkin's won the game. Barry Larkin gets mobbed. Look at this scene. It's synergy.
The stretch, the pause in the pitch, and a line drive, base hit left center field. A single for Aaron Boone, and this one belongs to the Reds. The Reds have won 8 in a row.
Kobayashi with a long look turns it loose, and Dunn hits it to deep right. It's all over, and this one belongs to the Reds. The Reds have won their 5th game in a row. They've defeated the Cleveland Indians on an Adam Dunn 3-run home run, 4-2. In on the corners at first and third, 2 on, nobody out. Here's Roy Trin pitching, no bunt, ground ball by the third baseman into left field. Dave Bruce rounds third, and this one belongs to the Reds.
That's hit pretty good. Guess what? He doesn't need speed. That's gone. He's the king of the Queen City tonight.
With 1 out here in the 11th inning, you sure got to go now.
Swung on, pull down the left field line. That ball is going to get the winning run in. Here comes Dave Bruce rounding third, heading toward the plate, and this one belongs to the Reds.
Huge situation for Votto. Why you paying the big bucks to deliver the goods with 2 outs in the 9th inning? Can he do it? In the gap right center field, and Votto delivers the goods.
Hit deep center field. Hank Hill going back at the warning track. Oh, good one. It's gone. Joey Votto is delivered.
Welcome to the Chatterbox Reds pregame show on August 6, 2025, where the Reds are going for a sweep at Wrigley against the Chicago Cubs. I am Max Alfonso alongside Andrew Collinsworth today. This is his 2nd time on the show, so everyone be very nice to him. He is doing a great job. I wouldn't have been able to do the show today if he did not volunteer, so everyone thank him in the chat. Andrew, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to watch some Reds baseball today.
As am I. The fun series so far. Let's talk a little bit about last night. The Reds get the win 5-1. It was a great start by Zach Littell, his first game as a Red. Steer, big homer. Brian Hayes, great play after defensive replacing Santiago Espinal, which would have been pretty wild to say 2 weeks ago that Espinal was getting replaced defensively. But here we are. The Reds are victorious. What were your takeaways from the game last night?
I thought it was great to see the guys that we just got at the deadline really show up and produce and help them win a game. Obviously, Littell gives you 7 innings like that, and if he can do some sort of semblance of that for the rest of the season, then the Reds got a bargain here with him at the deadline. And then Andujar's 2 for 4. I think he had a double, a single, scored twice. Brian Hayes obviously comes in and makes a really nice play on the bare hand. So it was really nice to see that those guys, those additions really help out, kind of give the Reds fans a little bit of confidence in those guys and that they are actually here and can provide some value to this team to hopefully make a playoff push.
Yeah, the new guys last night, they were awesome. Andujar had the double that I forget who hit Andujar, and now that we're live and I'm forgetting things, but Andujar had that double. Hayes had the play. Littell was fantastic, and it's not just Littell, pitching well. It's the fact that they needed him to pitch well. The bullpen is gassed, and the night before when Lodolo goes down with the blister and they put him on the injured list, they called up Saletta, but still, like, to have him go as deep as he did into the ball game last night, not to use Pagan. Santion was only used for one batter, I believe. Ashcraft only threw like 9 pitches. So you got to think some of those guys are available today. Barlow's available, since he didn't throw yesterday. But yeah, just great. And I want to do this real quick, a little standings update. So the Reds are 3 back in the wild card. We've been talking a lot about them catching the Padres, especially before the deadline, before they made all those additions. But the Mets lost last night, and they are also 3 back of the Mets. So, I mean, who do you think out of the Mets and Padres that the Reds have a better chance of catching? They do play both of them 3 more times.
I have to imagine that at this point in time, with what the Padres added at the deadline, and how the Mets have been playing, that the Reds have a better chance of catching the Mets right now than they do the Padres. You know, the Padres really went all in to go get guys at the deadline, and it just bolstered everything about their team, pitching, offense. So I think the Padres not only have their sights on a wild card spot, but trying to really try to track down the Dodgers, which I know seems like a really tall task, but they made moves like that was their goal. It wasn't their goal to be in a wild card spot. And the Mets made some moves as well, but just the way that they've been playing recently, I think it gives you a little bit more optimism from the Red side that they're able to catch the Mets first.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Padres have a better chance of catching the Dodgers in the NL West. And I think the Reds can very much catch the Mets. The pitching staff of the Mets is not great. They're relying on Frankie Montas every 5th day. And I don't know if anyone here follows Frank the Tank on Twitter. I don't follow Frank the Tank, but X.com now everything just pops up. He is just on Frankie Montas every start. It is pretty funny. Being that we did the Frankie Montas experience last year. But Andrew, you want to go ahead and run through the Cincinnati Reds lineup that is on the screen?
Yeah, absolutely. So they got Friedel in center, Steer at first, Elliott short, Hayes is in the DH, and Lux is back at second, so an off day for McLean. Stevenson is behind the dish, Marte's in right, Fraley's in left, and Hayes is back at third base with Abbott on the bump. I think it is a pretty standard lineup for him, especially just giving McLean an off day. He didn't have his best game yesterday at the plate, and kind of moving Steer up to that 2 spot. I'm not going to say I'm surprised necessarily, because he's had a handful of clutch hits in the past week that are the main reason that this season is afloat still. But he has struggled, especially in the month of July. A lot of people were looking at his numbers and saying, oh, like he had a bad opening to the season. Well, he really just had a bad April. And then July, he kind of started to go back and struggle again, and in August as well. So to see him come through with those hits has been really nice, and he gets rewarded with being in the 2 spot today.
Yeah, the Steer ride this season's been pretty bumpy. But I said it when it happened against the Dodgers and Outman brought the ball back, but it would have been a 3-run homer. That was the swing of the season. Like, they needed that swing so bad. Everyone needed that swing. They did lose that series, but you could not afford to get swept. So it was nice. It was nice to see that, and then the homer against the Braves, and then last night, huge swing. There's nothing like winning in Wrigley. I love just beating the Cubs in a full Wrigley. All their fans going crazy every time there's a fly ball, and then it's
Yeah,
like 30 feet from the wall. It
right.
just gives me so much joy.
Yeah.
Um, but but yeah, the McLean thing. I think today's McLean's birthday, so happy birthday, Matt McLean. You get
Oh,
to
nice.
pinch hit late in the game. But so one thing I wanted to just talk about real quick is the Boston Red Sox just signed Roman Anthony to a 8-year, $130 million contract extension. We know Ellie will not sign that extension. He will probably get like 3 times that if the Reds tried to extend him. But I do have a question. With McLean struggling, the Reds have offered him an extension in the past. Would you consider offering him an extension now and just kind of banking on the fact that he's gonna get back right to being the Matt McLean that we loved his rookie year? Do you think that is it obviously won't be 8 years, 130 million. You're buying low, so maybe you get, the Key
Right.
Brian Hayes deal, but what do you think about that?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, McLean he still flashes at times how good he can be. And if this is the worst that he is for his career, then I think you do make a push to try to extend him at his low. And for me, it's hard to see him like this has to be the floor for Matt McLean. And I think his rookie year was probably his ceiling as well. So what you're gonna get from him is probably somewhere more in the middle. But you know that he's a good second baseman. You know that he's going to be somebody who you can put at the top of the order when he's playing well. So I would make a push to do it.
Yeah, it's definitely something I would consider. And as you mentioned, the Reds, we'll move on back to Reds baseball. The Reds are starting Andrew Abbott today, who is 8-1 on the year with a 2.15 ERA. His last start, a little worrisome in my opinion. He struggled against the Braves with 5 walks and 5 1/3. And we've seen this before, him have, you know, some issues late in the year. But in my opinion, now this is his 3rd year. We can't have that anymore. You got to be able to pitch a full season. So what do you think about Abbott and going forward in his last start?
Yeah, I think his numbers, obviously, he's fantastic for us. He's been great the whole season. But when it comes down to being a top of the rotation guy, I'm not sure if that's who he is. Now, this season, he's certainly pitching like it, and he's been really, really good. I don't think that there's any denying that whatsoever. But I think that if the Reds get, in the future, if they get him to be a low threes guy, that's still that would be a successful season to me for Andrew Abbott. I don't think that he needs to be a low twos ERA guy. Now, obviously, if he is, that the Reds are just getting a heck of a pitcher. But I'm not too concerned about him. I just think that he's overperforming a little bit, but at the same time, people talk about it. He's a pitcher's pitcher. He's going to go in there and throw strikes and hit spots and throw multiple pitches for strikes. And so I think that his floor is a lot higher than some guys who are a little bit more sporadic and can't locate as much.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if we'll see this version of Abbott again thrown to a 2.15 ERA. If we do, that's fantastic, and I will take that every day of the week. But we'll see on that. I will go ahead and run through the Chicago Cubs lineup today. Nico Horner will lead it off. Justin Turner hitting second, which is a big discussion amongst Cubs fans. He has not had a good year and he is playing first at this point in his career. Seiya Suzuki had an off night last night, hitting third DHing. Carson Kelly, Pete Armstrong are 4 or 5. Willie Castro in right, Ian Happ in left, Dansby Swanson and Matt Shaw round out the lineup. And the most successful Cub against Andrew Abbott is Kyle Tucker. And thank you, Greg Counsell, because he is not in the lineup today. So what are your thoughts on the Chicago Cubs lineup against Andrew Abbott?
Yeah, I think looking over their numbers and who's had success against Abbott and whatnot, it is odd that Tucker's not in the lineup tonight. I think we were talking beforehand. PCA is over 6 against Abbott, but I understand having to play Turner. He was 2 for 4, I think, lifetime against Abbott with a homer. So maybe they're banking on that. He hits lefties still pretty well. I mean, that's kind of been his calling card in his career. So for Cubs fans, I think that they can relax a little bit. Turner's not going to be hitting 2-hole every day for your Cubbies. But at the same time, know that he hits left-handed pitching, specifically Abbott, pretty well. Now, the rest of the lineup, Abbott should have a good time with them. Again, PCA is 0 for 6, so hopefully he'll be 0 for 9 after today. And Abbott can just keep the ball rolling, especially with Tucker out of there.
Yeah, and we were talking about it before. It looks like the wind is blowing from right field to left field today, I think you said. So that
Yeah.
could be a little bit of danger for Abbott, since it is a right-handed heavy lineup against him. But we'll see. I like Andrew Abbott a lot, and I think he's a very good pitcher and can pitch in most conditions. I will go ahead and do the Cub starter today, which is Kade Horton. I believe he's a rookie. He is a rookie. He's one of their top prospects for a while now. 5-3 with a 3.4 ERA and a 1.85 ERA this year at home. He's pitched very well at home. Throws 4 pitches, pretty common pitches: fastball, slider, changeup, curveball. It keeps it pretty simple. And what are your thoughts on Kade Horton? We noticed something as we were doing a little bit of research before the show.
Yeah, he doesn't strike out guys at a high rate like he did in the minor leagues, which is a little bit surprising because looking at his pipeline report from 2024, he's got a 60 grade fastball and a 70 grade slider. So you would imagine with those two, with that combo of those two, that you would be striking out guys right and left. But I think he's below an 8K per nine. I think it's around 7 or something like that. But he just gets outs. He finds a way. His walk numbers are pretty league average. His hit numbers are league average, home runs allowed, like everything across the board is pretty league average. But then his ERA is down, so he just finds ways to get out of trouble. He can pitch around hits and walks and errors. He's able to make the most of every situation and leave guys on base.
Yeah, I agree. I'm excited to watch him pitch because we have not seen him yet. The only Red who has faced him is Brian Hayes, who was on the Pirates, obviously, at the time, and is 0 for 2 against Kade Horton. So I'm excited to watch him pitch and the Reds lineup take him on at a really nice day in Chicago today. I don't know how many of you guys have been to Chicago in the summer, but Chicago is the best in the summer. So I'm jealous of all the Reds fans today at Wrigley. Do you have any we'll engage a little bit more with the chat than we have so far, but do you have any predictions right now for the game today?
I don't know if this is necessarily a prediction more so than a hope, but I would love to see Ellie get into one. It's been a while. He's just struggled a little bit. And struggling for him again is different than struggling for everybody else, right? Like his numbers are still there. But I'd like to see him really get into one and park one into the outfield seats today. Aside from that, I think that the left-handed hitters in the lineup today should have a pretty good day against Horton, from what I've seen so far. So I think that the key for them is just going to be jumping out early. If they can string some hits together in that first inning, get Ellie up with some runners on base, then I think that they should be able to jump out to an early lead and hopefully just coast Abbott's start to the end.
Yeah. Ellie hasn't really gotten into many lately. He had that homer at home, believe it was against Atlanta. That was his first for a while, and
Yeah.
he's kind of gotten back to being a little bit of a free swinger. This series, he's been very aggressive at the plate, which I like when he's aggressive, but it's been a little too much. The Taylor Rogers at bat, a lot of people are talking about that because Cowboy was just shredding Rogers, and it was really funny. But then Ellie swung at a ball that hit him, and yesterday Shota was kind of eating him up inside. So I'm excited today that Ellie will face a righty on the mound.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It would be nice to see him get into one, but today I think Noelvi Marte gets into one. I think Marte has exceptional power. He's hit righties very well this year. I think he had reverse splits for a while. Not sure if that's still the case, but today I think Noelvi gets into one. A lot of conversation in the chat right now about a possible Abbott extension. I would definitely do an Abbott extension. If I had a starter to extend at this point, it would probably be Abbott or Burns. You give Burns the not LA contract, the Hunter Green contract, and just throw that offer out there and see what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I would consider giving Abbott an extension. But at this point, I want to see him just pitch through a full season. His first year, he kind of labored through it. believe last year had some injury issues. I could be wrong on that. I know he was a little late to the party this year in spring training with an injury, but
Right.
yeah, I don't know. I think if there's a pitcher that I would consider extending most, it'd probably be Abbott.
Yeah, and the thing that I think is craziest about that is that he's probably the pitcher that I would rely on the most in terms of health still. Between Green, Lodolo, and Abbott, it's kind of like out of those three guys, Abbott's the one who's going to make the most starts for you. So I would be totally okay extending him. We can see year after year, the Reds just need more pitching depth, and it's going to be interesting to see what they end up trying to do with their rotation because they have all these guys under contract for next year. You would like to think that they're going to make a push to get Martinez back because he's been that Swiss Army knife, and a lot of fans say, "Oh, we're paying him $21 million, and he's got a 4.5 ERA as a starter." Well,
I don't care what
he's
we're
done a
paying him.
lot. I know. He's been exceptional, and I think that the pitching depth is starting to get to a point that you're getting to be more comfortable with, especially next year. You're going to have guys coming back from season-long injuries like Williamson, Julian Aguilar. Hopefully, at some point in time, Petty will be a big league contributor. So there's these guys here that make you feel like you have some good pitching depth organizationally, at least between MLB and AAA. But you still need a guy that is going to be healthy and give you 30 starts. Which is, I think, why they went out and acquired Singer before the season started, because he is a guy who's going to give you, 180 innings a year. So if Abbott can give you some sort of semblance of that, then I would absolutely extend him.
Yeah, I tweeted this out last night. Between Littell and Martinez, I think it's important to keep one of them around. I'd probably choose Littell just because he's younger. But I would offer both of them. I threw out 2 years, 32 million last night. I would just throw that out to both of them and see who takes the bait. Like, I mean, just because Littell was originally a reliever. Like, you can put him in the Nick Martinez role, and I think that's totally fine. So, and I agree. I forget about Brandon Williamson. I wonder if he comes back and it's just like a lefty specialist reliever.
Right.
Just because he's had some injury issues. The Reds lack left-handed pitching. Especially right now. I mean, he won't pitch this year, but right now, I think Maul and Suter are the only ones under control next year because those are the only ones we have. So yeah, it'll be interesting. The rotation next year will be very interesting, and it'll be interesting to see how they handle it this year with Green coming back soon. Lodolo down. Hopefully he's only down 15 days, but and that's another reason I thought the Littell trade was so important is like they needed starters to get through the season, especially with Carson Spires going down, and I think he got Tommy John.
Yeah, I think he ended up getting Tommy John, and that is a bit of a blow, but yeah, I think you're right on. If they can get one of Martinez or Littell, 232 might be a little steep for me, just because I haven't seen Littell do it for a long enough period of time for him. But he is younger, so there is that aspect of things as well. But I think either one of them is going to get if it's not by the Reds, they'll get a nice payday. They'll get some good change in their back pocket. And I think Littell will jump at an opportunity to sign more than a 1-year contract as well, because he's kind of been a guy that's bounced around a little bit between organizations. He's been a reliever, he's been a starter. So just having a certain role carved out for him might be something that is more intriguing to him, especially on a multi-year deal.
Yeah. Real quick, everyone go ahead and throw your predictions in the chat for the game today. But just one more thing on that. We do have Singer one more year. I believe we have one more year of Brady Singer. So then, yeah, I mean, if you can get one of Littell or Martinez, I wouldn't sign them both just because, we're going to have Burns. I completely forgot about Rhett Lauder. He's still here. Really,
Lauder.
I have some concerns about Lauder and his health at this point. But he's still young, and we'll see what happens there. See people throwing some predictions in the chat. Reds 5-4, 8-7 Reds. Someone said they would trade Encarnacion Strand. He has no value, so I would hold off on that. But yeah, so we'll see. A lot of Will Benson talk as well. Have you missed Will Benson the last few days?
It's hard because when you look at them winning games, it's like, oh, like, do I really miss Will Benson when we're winning? Like, no, probably not. But Will Benson is personally one of my favorite Reds. Like, I just,
Yeah.
If a lot of people think that when you see Will Benson stuff from Chatterbox, that it's just Nick pushing out his Will Benson propaganda, but I'm right there with him, man. I love Will Benson. And, I love having him as a part of the Reds. I think he provides something that they don't have a lot of. But that being said, it's tough to say right now that I'm missing him with them winning the last few games. Now, there will be a point in time where the type of player that he is, his type of role is going to be called on in a spot, and they're not going to have him on the roster to do that. So that is going to be when I'm going to be frustrated and miss him the most is, when they need a left-handed power bat in the lineup because of something happens or you want him to pinch hit or something. So I'm sure at some point in time I will miss him, but it's hard to say that right now considering the way the last few games have gone.
Yeah. And I like Will Benson a lot too. I do think it's a little bit of an overreaction from the Reds fan base. That he was sent down. Like I don't think it's the end of the world. Because he'll be back this year. I bet he's back, truthfully, in the next couple of weeks because injuries happen. Fraley and Hayes have shown the ability to just not stay healthy. So we'll see Will Benson again, especially because he's the only backup center fielder. Like if right now there was an injury to Friedel, like who's out? Who are they throwing out there? Fraley? Like I would guess it would be Fraley, Marte maybe. Austin Hayes would not survive in center field. Gavin Lux used to play center, and then I think he tore his ACL. So like, there's no real great option after Friedel on the major league roster. So, we'll see what happens there. But any last thoughts as we wind down here?
Not really. I think that the old heads in the chat might be screaming at you to put Ellie out in center field, but we all know that that's not the long-term plan and as it shouldn't be. But no, I'm just excited for today's game. I'm excited to see this pitching matchup. Hopefully they can, if they get out of Wrigley with a sweep, that would just be fantastic. And it would keep the polarizing season that they're having going because they flip-flop between this team that you think could make a playoff run and a team that you're wondering is even in the playoff race. But that's what makes it fun. So I'm just excited for today's game and for the rest of the season. But specifically, I think the pitching matchup is going to be fun to watch today.
Yeah, I'm very excited today. I think this is a game the Reds should win with Abbott on the mound facing a rookie. Just one quick note. I think Kade Horton's a pitcher the Reds should get to, contact pitcher. Like the Reds make a lot of contact, so that's the name of Chris Valleca teams apparently. It's just making contact, so they could put the ball in play today. I like their odds. Thank you everyone for watching. Go ahead and like the stream right now. I'll give you 3 seconds to do that. 1, 2, 3, and we will talk to you guys tomorrow.